I'm looking good for a pretty germ. It's gonna make me so awesome. I got myself in a pretty germ. They say what's in your mind. Oh yeah, looking good in a pretty germ. I'm looking good for a supermodel. I'm good for a pretty germ. They say what's new. They say what's new. I'm looking good in a pretty germ. So what? I'm looking good in a pretty germ. So awesome. Looking good for a germ. I'm looking good for a silly germ. I'm looking good for a silly germ. What's new? Looking good in a silly germ. What's right? Looking good for a pretty boy. I'm looking good in a city germ. I'm in a burn on my barrel, a barrel on my barrel, a barrel, barrel on my barrel, barrel on my barrel. I'm looking good in a pretty germ. I'm looking good in a pretty germ. What's new? Making good. I'm making comedy. I'm looking good in a pretty germ. I'm looking good in a germ. They got me riding crazy. I'm going good. What's in your mind? Oh yeah, I'm looking good in a germ. I'm looking good in a germ. I'm looking good in a germ. Oh yeah, I'm looking good in a germ. Oh yeah, looking good in a germ. Come on, I'm looking good in a germ. So just get up and feel it all over me. Looking good in a pretty germ, yeah. I'm feeling good in a pretty germ. What's right? I'm feeling good in a pretty germ. Don't play it for a supermodel. I'm looking good in a pretty germ, yeah. I'm looking good for a pretty supermodel. I'm looking good in a pretty germ. I'm looking good for a super mega boom! They gotta see what's new for anyone. Gotta see what's right for me. And gotta be what I be. I'm looking good in a pretty germ. I'm looking good for a pretty germ. I'm looking good for a pretty germ. I'm looking good in a pretty germ.